Alright, new player's guide to Order of the Dragon. So we're going to do a simple new player friendly build order to get you started playing OOTD and Age of Empires 4 in general. This video going to quickly cover how to do the build, and then a second video go into a little bit more of the explanation, a bit more depth, explain why we're doing the things we're doing, as well as some of the things more to focus on or think about for this build and learning OOTD, but also for learning Age of Empires 4 in general. There's also a link to the written build order in the description if you'd like that for your reference. But for now, let's jump into the game. Really simple start. Queue up villages, put your vills onto your sheep, and send your scout to go scouting. I'm not going to talk about the scout for this video. He's just going to go get a sheep and bring him on home. We're going to rally our first 2 villages onto gold. The first one that comes out is going to build a house and a mining camp. The second one that comes out is going to help finish the mining camp. And then they will both go to gold. And then we rally back to food until we age up. So I'm going to use this time just to talk a little bit about what we're trying to do here. The goal was to just be aggressive in feudal age with gilded horsemen and gilded archers, both really strong units in the feudal age that the Order of the Dragon has. We want to either kill our opponent or at least put a lot of pressure on. This build we can do basically on any land map against any civ, so it's a good way for a new player to sort of get into it, learn the civ, learn the game a little bit, get a foothold on any game, and then sort of diverge or be creative from there. You can also do it in team games if you like, or in team games you could also just go mass horseman, that works too. I also want to stress a bit of a disclaimer. This build is not optimal. It's prioritizing instead to be more basic and simple for new players, just make it easier to get in, learn the civ, learn the game, and hopefully you can have a more enjoyable new player experience rather than just dying in 5-10 minutes every game. Order of the Dragon are kind of memed a little bit as a beginner civ, or like low cognitive load is what people say, but actually they can be quite difficult, especially their macro, due to the high cost of the units. Like every unit costs twice as much and is twice the value. You can sort of hamstring yourself by having, if you have too many units queued up, that's all your food especially that sort of gets tied up in those villager or those unit queues, and then you're not actually producing as much as you can be, which is quite tough. The other thing that makes them difficult is because of those high food costs, you can feel like you just burn through your food quickly, you just run out and then just die by that attrition, which is not a very fun way. So it does take a little bit of getting used to, or a little bit of playing differently compared to other civs, especially those other beginner civs which I've talked about or done guides for with English, French, HRE, Japan, etc. So now we're about ready to age up. So we're going to take 2 of our villages and make our minework palace. And then we're going to leave just 5 on food. So 2 of them are going to go off to wood, and we're going to rally onto wood until we get to 6. Once we get 6 on wood, we're going to rally back to food. Very simple. There's not too much going on while we age up, so I'll speed us up. The next thing to keep in mind here will be, once we're sort of getting close to aging up, we're going to want to build a mill and then get wheelbarrow. When this finishes the minework, 1 villa is going to go back to food. So we're already at 6 on wood, so we're rallied back onto food now. And then the other villa is going to come away and make us stables. So here we're getting wheelbarrow. And we also want to get double broad axe very shortly, basically once the gold comes in, and then this will time out very nicely as we will be able to make a horseman basically as soon as the stable is finished, and then we can use that horseman with our scout to go poke and prod. Now if you're a new player and the multitasking of sort of attacking with the horseman and the scout is a bit too much, just don't do it. That's fine to start with. But it is an option. They are strong. Remember, each horseman is essentially 2 horsemen from any other civ. So we're going to go up to 12 on food, and then we're going to rally back to wood. Once we're sort of at this stage, so once our second horseman is coming out, we've got our eco upgrades in, and we're going to make an archery range. After our second horseman is where we sort of want to be prioritizing more on the archers. The archers are going to be the bulk of our sort of army and our DPS, so that's really what we want to focus on. I'm not going to bother looking at this, but you can sort of poke and harass with it if you like. And then the archery range villager goes back to food. We're going to get our upgrades with the gold next. So ranged defense, because this will help our horsemen and our archers, and then ranged attack, which will help our archers. With houses, you just need to make them as you go. I recommend with this build using gold villages to make houses, because we don't actually need that much gold with this build, and honestly with the civ in general. Now we've hit 12 on food, you see we're rallying back to wood. This is going to allow us to keep pumping our archers, so we're going to prioritize pumping archers over horsemen, and then just add horsemen in when we get a bit of a float of food and a little bit more wood. And then basically this is it. So from here on out, it's really, really simple. We're just going to build up an army and then go attack. From there is basically where we would make a choice. So I'm just going to speed up till we get to this choice parts. You see nothing else is going on other than trying to spam as many archers as soon as it comes up, and fitting in horsemen where we can. This looks like a really tiny army, but remember this is literally 10 archers and 6 horsemen. We're going to make a decision around this point whether we want to all in or not. I will just pause very briefly to talk about this. You also notice a bit of extra wood float. You might have a tendency to add more production. Don't. These are essentially 2 production buildings each. Instead, you just want to use extra wood to add in farms, and then also to add in rams if you're going to go for that. So we can get siege engineering and go. So basically, getting horticulture is a good idea, by the way. I actually think I made a mistake. I don't get this very early, but once you're on berries/sheep farms, that all affects horticulture, so it's a good idea. But once you're at this point, basically making a decision about what you want to do, you're either going to go for the kill. If you want to go for the kill, you're going to get siege engineering, which allows you to make rams with your archers. So you're going to stop archer production because they cost wood, and then your archers are going to make some rams in the field. I think I do this in this video. The other option is to stop making units, put a couple more villagers onto gold, and then go up when you have 1200 food, 600 gold to Castle Age with the Burgrave, and then make really strong men-at-arms and go kill your opponent with the men-at-arms. But the first option, which is probably a little bit easier, the feudal all-in, is what we're going to do in this game. So basically, we're poking and prodding, attacking, at a real game at least. This one's just against AI. But we would have wanted to get horticulture. We'll be getting siege engineering from our mine work, and then we'll stop making archers at this point, and then you'll see the wood start coming in. These guys do so much damage, by the way. And then we just make rams and go. So good rule of thumb is to make 3, but you can make more or less depending on your feel for the game. But it's a good rule of thumb to start with, and then you just go kill them. So there's really nothing else to say at this point. I'm just going to play it out. But yeah, if you'd like to learn a little bit more, see a little more, stay tuned for part 2. But otherwise, that's all for how to actually execute the build itself. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.